Everyone thinks it's so hard to find a job, but once you figure this out, it becomes incredibly easy. Let me tell you the secret for how to find a job using cold email. That secret is... By the way, if you want the system that we're covering in this video as a free checklist, grab the link in the description. You can have a PDF of everything we talked about. I'm Alex Berman. I've turned down job offers from a lot of huge companies, and I've helped multiple people find a job. I helped my friend Fernando get a job at the architecture firm of his dreams. And I also helped my brother Joseph land a job at the recording studio of his dreams. Found jobs in New York City and at a Silicon Valley startup doing this. Let me tell you the secret for how to find a job using cold email. That secret is, if you approach somebody with the right type of pitch, they will respond. That's the secret. You can hit up anybody in the entire world and come at them with the right pitch and they'll hire you. For instance, when Joseph was going after this recording studio, and this is a recording studio where Billboard Hot 100 artists were currently recording, like people like Ariana Grande were there, Lil Pump, like big artists were at the studio. This was a very competitive job. And the way that he got his job, which by the way, you can see the whole script and everything in the video we did, check that out below. The way he got this job was he emailed the owner of the studio, said he was new to LA, and asked for what is called an informational interview. He just asked if he could have a phone call with him. The guy didn't respond to the first email. 3 months later, he sent a follow-up and the guy did respond. And within 2 days, he had a job. It's pretty simple. The most interesting thing to me about that story is the excuses that he gave for not emailing more people and for not emailing this guy at first. Like I had to really push him to get him to email a company that he really wanted to work with, because this way of finding a job via cold email is so outside the system. A lot of it's just mental. My other friend, Fernando, who I helped with this, he wanted a job at a top architecture firm. All we had to do was, I asked him who the top architecture firm was in the city that he wanted to live in. He gave me the name. We found who the owner was. We sent him an email, same kind of thing. Like, hey, I'm Fernando. I'm really interested in your architecture firm specifically. Really love the design of, whatever building in Dallas that he loved. He customized the email. That's the other big thing, is customizing the email. Really love the design of this building, and I would love to talk with you about your firm. Are you around for a coffee this week? Let me know and I'll send you a few times. Copy paste that script and try to get a job. After that, there is some negotiation. So yes, you can use the strategy that we just talked about. Rewatch this video and literally do this for your dream clients, right? Step 1, make a list of the companies that you want to work at. Step 2, find the person in charge. They call it the hiring manager. Find the person in charge of hiring for that job, not HR. Please do not email HR. Email your manager or the owner. 3, send a customized email using the scripts we just talked about. 4, you have the coffee meeting, and at that coffee meeting, ask the person real questions. What's it like working here? What do you want to do with this company in the next 5 years? How is your career path? And it's very important that these questions are real questions. The way that I found to come up with the actual questions you have is to, 1, do some research on the person. Then 2, sit down before the meeting with yourself and ask the questions that you think you're gonna ask, and then try to answer them from their point of view. So for instance, a question like, how do you like working here? I could guess that the person I'm talking to is gonna say, oh, it's great. So what I could do in that situation is avoid that conversation altogether. And instead of asking, do you like working here? I could say something like, I assume you like working here or you wouldn't take this meeting and be talking about this job. You wouldn't be hyped about it. What do you think is the best thing about working here? And then if they pull back, you say, oh, what do you think the worst thing is? That's it. So sitting down with yourself and thinking through one more step on the questions, that's huge. The next thing is, once you've had this meeting, you follow up immediately, like within minutes, with an email like, hey, it was great meeting you. I'll implement what we talked about and I'll get back. Also at this meeting, when you're asking questions, you want to get some piece of advice from them. So for instance, when Fernando went to the initial meeting with the architecture guy, ran one of the largest architecture firms, he asked for feedback on his portfolio. This is another mental game. These people are happy to give advice. And he did give advice to Fernando. He's like, oh, you should organize it this way. He gave like some little piece of advice. The difference, the reason why Fernando was able to get that job and why most people don't get jobs, especially getting jobs via cold email, is Fernando implemented the advice. He actually took the time and changed the portfolio and sent it back. And sometimes that's all you have to do. I can't tell you how many times I give advice to people that don't pay. When I give advice to a consulting client, almost always they're gonna implement and get back because they're paying. If you're out there giving free advice, very few people will actually implement. And I can tell you right now, as somebody who's giving advice, there is very little of value people can offer. Let's go back to the previous example. I'm helping my brother, I'm helping Joseph, I'm helping Fernando get their jobs. I've tried to help so many other people. I actually helped another friend get a job at Citibank. It's a 6-figure salary using the same exact process. There are so many other people I've tried to help. Because they're not paying, they just don't implement. And so the few that do implement, they rise above everyone else in my mind. And you can do the same thing for your job search. You go out there, you implement the advice, and you come back with the notes or the feedback or just showing that you listened to them and implemented, and they'll give you a leg up. And then the final part is ask for the job after you implement the advice. So cold email to get the meeting, get some recommendations from the person, implement the advice, ask for the job, 4-step process. You send an email like this. Hey, I've been searching for a job. I'm about to graduate from college and I really want to work for your firm. I have a couple other offers I'm considering, but I really want to work here. Is there anything we can do? Simple as that. You're either going to get a yes or a no at that point. If you followed this process, you've implemented their advice, the chances that you're going to get a job via cold email this way are extremely high. Extremely high that they're going to find a place somewhere in their organization for you. It might be a junior level, it might be an intern, but you will get in with the company of your dreams using the system. And then from there, it's kind of on you to get aggressively promoted. I know when I got a job as a junior sales guy in New York City, I was director of marketing within 8 months. So there is a strong path for somebody who is able to do the job effectively. And maybe this is another video on like how to play corporate politics to get extreme pay increases. All of that is already outlined in this channel. Like the same way I was able to become director of marketing is the same way I've sold millions of dollars via entrepreneurship. It's the exact same process. So that's that. The final piece of advice I have on this is 100% a numbers game. So instead of having the one guy or the one girl that you really want to work for, make a list of 15, make a list of 20 even, and reach out with a custom email to all 20. Some will get back, maybe 8 out of 20 if you write the email correctly. You'll have 6 of these coffee meetings. And if you do this right, you might get 3 job offers. And this is quick too. This is not a year-long system. This is something you could knock out in 2 weeks. I got a job via cold email within 2 weeks of moving to New York City the first time. I figured out I wanted to be an account manager. I emailed a bunch of people. I had a couple coffee meetings. One guy was very good. He was actually at a startup called Berman, which has raised hundreds of millions of dollars now, as far as I know. And he was like, oh, you should go check out these meetups. I emailed him back. I went to the meetups. Like I went through this whole system. I didn't end up working at Betterment, but I worked at a similar company called Vimbly, making cold calls and doing all this stuff. But I got that job via cold email the same way. One more thing is you'll end up somewhere if you run this system. That's the other thing. If you don't get your dream architecture job, like Fernando, maybe you get a job at the second place. Maybe you're trying to work at Hertz, you get a job at Avis. Still good. You can always get your job at Hertz later. And that's that. That's how to get a job via cold email. If you're running a cold email marketing campaign and you're getting under 80% as your open rate, grab this free document. This is 50 subject lines to test. I've sent over 2 million cold emails. We've generated over $100 million in leads. Click the link below. You can have all these subject lines. If you want to check out those other videos, you want to see the actual email scripts my brother used to get the job at the recording studio, you can do that down in the description. And I'll talk to you later. I'm Alex Berman. Subscribe, like, comment, and stick around. We do videos 3 times a week.